Hi everyone, it's Andre here from Warren Boot Camps. Just want to go over a topic today which will probably resonate with a lot of the female clients out there. I know definitely it resonates with a lot of my female clients. Sometimes with male clients as well, but most commonly it affects primarily female clients for a number of different reasons, and that's anemia. Some of you may know what anemia is, and some of you may have been diagnosed with anemia by a health practitioner or a doctor of some sort, which is basically characterized by low energy, fatigue, and a whole variety of different symptoms. It really just depends on the person. What is anemia? Basically, the common form of anemia that we all know about is an iron deficiency. Why is iron so important? Okay, so when you cut yourself and you see that you bleed blood, obviously, and the blood is red, obviously, what gives blood that red pigment is red blood cells. And the red portion, or the pigment portion of red blood cells, is actually something called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is basically a protein. I would say probably 90% of, maybe more than 90% of things inside you are some sort of protein, one sort of protein or another. But basically, hemoglobin is a sort of protein, and iron is very important to the formation of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin as a unit is responsible or is primarily responsible as the main oxygen transporter of your blood cells. So you can imagine what problems can arise there when you have an iron deficiency. You have a deficiency in hemoglobin, and then you have a also, along with that, what that will lead to is an inability to transport oxygen efficiently enough to support your daily activities, which can lead to those symptoms often associated with anemia. The problem is that is the most simple form of anemia, or the most common form of anemia that we know about, but there are other forms of anemia. So there's we already mentioned an iron deficiency anemia. There's also a folate deficiency anemia, and also a B12 deficiency anemia. Also, anemia can be caused by genetic mutations, so something called sickle cell anemia, which is basically a mutation in the formation of red blood cells, and they've got this sort of a specific shape to carry out their functions. And what happens in sickle cell anemia is that they don't have the ability to form this proper shape. They lose their ability to move through blood vessels efficiently, and they also lose the ability to carry enough oxygen around the body. Also, another cause can be hemorrhaging, so any sort of bleeding. You can imagine when you do, let's say you cut your leg open, nothing fatal, but you do lose a lot of blood. Obviously, you're going to lose a lot of red blood cells and the ability, or a lot of hemoglobin and a lot of iron in that case as well. So my main point is that there are different types of anemia, and anemia is not simply just anemia. If you do go to the doctor and they tell you, you've got anemia, you need to really find out what sort of anemia they're talking about, because your iron levels might be efficient, but maybe your B12 or your folate levels are deficient. The reason why they come into the equation is because they're important cofactors in the formation of the hemoglobin proteins. Okay, so probably the three things that anyone who is experiencing anemia should address. The first thing would be find out exactly what the deficiency is caused by. So let's say in the simplest case, it was an iron deficiency anemia. Of course, increase the amount of iron you're consuming. However, if you are consuming enough, but you aren't able to digest and absorb that iron out of your food, then that would be something else to address. So addressing your digestive capabilities there also. So increase it, but also address your digestion. And the main one that makes this primarily a problem for a lot of female clients is the fact that menstruation every month for about or depending on the person, it will say roughly a week, you're losing quite a lot of blood, which means you lose quite a lot of iron as well. So if you do have an abnormal menstrual cycle, so let's say something abnormal would be a cycle every 2 weeks, and you bleed for let's say something a little bit shorter. So every 2 weeks you have a cycle and you bleed for 2 days. That's considered something that's not quite normal in terms of the month-long cycle and bleeding for roughly 5 to 7 days. So that would be something else that you would need to address in order to correct any issues you have with an iron deficiency. So increase the amount, improve your digestion, and if you do have any issues with menstruation, address those issues too. Those are the 3 things, and that is anemia.